All right, today is day 34 of NoFap. I gotta confess, I had a rough couple of weeks these last couple of weeks because I kept thinking about all the years and years and decades, of, or even a century or two of not fapping that I have ahead of me. And I keep thinking about, oh my god, these last 34 days, what did I do? And how many times I would have to do such and such an event, right? Go to uh, uh, go stargazing, go to a board game meetup, workplace meetings. Right, we have performance reviews and all that. I just had a performance review, which I did really good in because I spoke up for myself instead of hiding out and fapping. How many more pandemics I'll have to live through and stay home without fapping? When I think of it in those kind of regards, it's scary to see all those decades ahead of you where you quote unquote can't fap. In reality, it's you don't want to fap because you want to actually be more hands on in your life, right? So I had a couple of weeks of that, and then I got a little bit of a sticker shock because let's face it, fapping is quote unquote free. It's not really because it does cost you in terms of career opportunity costs and social opportunity costs, but it's free at the moment that you're doing it, right? The other things that you might do instead of fapping are not so immediately free, right? So, for example, these last couple of weeks, I've been trying a lot of new foods. I've been going on dates a lot more, both solo sexual dates and dates with other people. And so I went stargazing. My favorite bowling. My bowling score has kind of plateaued ever since I stopped fapping, unfortunately. But that's a small price to pay compared to all the other things. And for the first time in 2 years, I'm actively dating girls again. And let's face it, those things cost a lot more money immediately compared to fapping. They might not have the long-term costs, though, of dampening your career, right? So I have to think of it as an investment as opposed to, oh my god, not fapping is costing me a fortune, right? I've learned to think of it more as an investment. Oh my god, not fapping has allowed me to enjoy all these new things, and now I actually speak up for myself out there, right? So I'm really pleased at my connectivity at work ever since I stopped fapping. So I alluded to how early on at my current job, I had a couple situations that I was overly cautious about because I had just come out of a toxic workplace. So my first week of the summer, where we had a couple new colleagues join, I had one colleague who gave me a little bit of concern because she is about my age, and when she introduced herself, she looked like she was interested in me romantically, and that gave me a lot of concern because at my last workplace, I had a girl who was interested in me, but she was a lot younger, right? And it created a toxicity because I feel she sabotaged when I didn't reciprocate, and I got a little bit concerned about that. But then I realized that it wasn't a toxic relationship, and she just wanted to. She was just like me. She wanted to make sure she had a good environment to come to. And a couple weeks ago, I was late for work one day, and I gave the. It turns out I was tossing and turning because I wasn't masturbating, but I gave the excuse that we don't have air conditioning at home, and I was tossing and turning because of that. In part, it was true too. Now, my colleague doesn't realize that I live out of my car, and she offered to lend me an air conditioning unit. It gave me a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. And I definitely did not have that connection at my last workplace. But I think the reason I made this connection in large part was because I wasn't fapping, and it was forcing me to actually fill in the gap with, let's make a new connection at work. Let's make sure I have the right connections at work. So anyways, this last 2 weeks, I had a little bit of time shock in terms of thinking about the decades and centuries ahead of me, as well as a little bit of sticker shock. But as soon as I realized that that's a very small price to pay for all the career benefits of getting, it made it seem all the more worthwhile.